All right, guys, I wanted to very quickly make you guys a quick video that's going to explain some of the things that are going to start to happen next week as far as distance learning goes. I am working on getting together an update like I always have done prior to the start of a new week that kind of details what we're going to be doing, expectations, things like that. I'm getting this ready for your parents, but I wanted to go ahead and go over everything with you guys. And then I just sent out an invitation for an optional video chat with me so you could ask questions and I could just kind of alleviate some of the things that you might be feeling about moving completely to learning online and things like that. So, distance learning week 1, we are going to start utilizing Google Classroom much more so than we have in the past. You guys, and I have ours open, you guys know that as far as Google Classroom goes, we post different assignments. I do video notes. There's been some Imagine Math pathways, extra credit, things like that. But your interactive notes are going to be super important for you to know exactly where they are. So that's what's on the screen right now. Remember that if you don't have your notebook for some reason, that all of our notes are here, linked to the video, unless we did them in class. Everything is right here. So if there's something that you're doing that you are confused about, or that you're like, oh, I'm not exactly sure what we did in class for that, I want you to go back to your interactive notebook and I want you to look there. This is the same thing I always tell you, but the only thing that is going to be different this time is that I tell you that and then you usually come find me in the classroom to ask a question. Well, that's not going to be something that we're going to be able to do. So you've got to use your interactive notebook and go there first when you have questions. Then remember that your review videos are still on Google Classroom, so you can go back to those and watch those as well. What you need to know is that, let me go back to this Word document that I started for your parents, is that assignments will be posted to Google Classroom on Friday afternoons by 4 p.m. So tomorrow at 4, you will have all your assignments for the next week. And they will be due, so you'll submit them to me by the following Friday, again at 4 p.m. My job is going to be to provide feedback, again by 4 o'clock by the following Tuesday. So I'll go on, I'll look at your Imagine Math, I'll look at whatever assignments that we had on there, and I'll give you some feedback, like you guys are doing great, did you think about this, that kind of thing. Just like I do when I hand papers back or we go over last night's homework or anything like that. That'll be the routine. What you need to know is that these assignments aren't being designed to where you would have to sit down for 52 minutes and work on mathematics every day. That's not what it's like. If you want to get it on Friday and work on everything on Monday, then that is completely up to you. For the very first week, the district has provided kind of an outline for us about what we should be doing with you guys, and we are going to start there. And based on your feedback, I'm going to kind of make a determination about whether or not I need to supplement for that, or whether or not what the district has provided for us is enough. What you need to know is that we are going to finish up our curriculum. So we are talking this very first week about area of composite figures, which we started and finished up prior to spring break. We were going to go into like surface area and volume of 3-dimensional figures. We will finish those 2 things, and then we will move into review. Remember, at this point, we have been told that we're going to be out of school until at least April the 10th. So that gives us a few weeks of instruction that we are going to do on strictly online. So what I'm going to try to do is only assign things that you guys are used to doing. Imagine Math, watching a video with me. Mrs. Sanders, that's been in our classroom a couple times from the district, is going to do a couple of videos that you guys are going to see. You'll recognize her voice. We'll do some numeracy routines, things that you're used to seeing. I'm going to try not to do a whole lot of new right away, just because I think that this entire situation is going to be new for us for a little bit. So we're going to try to just go with things that you recognize doing. What else? Okay, I have already sent you guys 2 Google Hangout invitations, okay? I'm going to be available online, meeting with you face-to-face from 1 to 2 on Mondays and Wednesdays. That's the time that has been assigned to the mathematics department because we're trying to figure out a way for you to have face-to-faces with all your teachers. So 1 to 2 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays is when you're going to meet with me. I'm going to ask that you come with questions. So Mrs. Brown, I tried this Imagine Math pathway. Problem number 4 is really giving me a hard time. Can you go over that with us? That's what we'll be using that time for. I'm going to have to set some expectations for you guys because if everybody gets on at the same time, there's 23. And it's going to work a little bit differently. Like I'm going to ask you guys to turn the microphone off on your computer. You're going to have to use the chat feature so that we're not all talking over each other at the same time. I'm going to have to go back up to school at some point and get some things to be equipped to tutor you guys from my dining room table. I am going to ask that you be a little bit patient because Mrs. Brown's personal children are home with her. I'm sure some of your younger siblings might be home with you, so it's all a little bit different. And sometimes they pop in and ask questions no matter how engaged I try to get them in an activity. So we're all just going to kind of have to be patient with each other as we figure it out. The other time that I will be available to you is Friday afternoons, and it'll be from 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. And my plan for that is to be very active on Google Classroom. You can email me. And the reason that there's a gap in between those two times is that at 2 o'clock, I have to have a meeting with Mr. Rhodes. You know that Mrs. Brown teaches you guys, and then the other part of her job is to be an instructional coach where she has to support teachers in all the different grade levels and their kids. So I have to spend a little bit of time doing that. So that's why there's a gap in that Google Classroom time for Fridays. I'm pretty attentive to Google Classroom all the time. I answer your questions when I can. You can reach out to me over email. You guys have that now because I've been sending out all of your invites. Remember that for Google Classroom, if it's on that initial stream, unless I've initiated the conversation, like I did today with, do you guys want to have a video chat tomorrow? It doesn't give me like a notification that you've sent me a message unless you private comment on an assignment. If you just send something on the stream, you have to wait until I get back on there to see it. If you send me a private comment, it gives me a notification right then. Mrs. Brown is getting a ton of Google notifications right now, and she is getting a ton of Google notifications right now because her teachers have gone and added her to every single Google Classroom that we have at McNair Junior High. So I'm getting notifications from almost everybody's students as they ask questions. So please be mindful of that. I'm going to get back to you as soon as I possibly can, and I'm filtering through and going and looking at you guys' questions first because you guys are my kiddos, and I want to make sure that you're getting everything you need, but I also need you to know that I'm getting a lot of notifications from Google Classroom. Another thing, we're going to use a lot of Imagine Math. I am attaching information for how your parents can set up a parent portal, and I'm going to send that out on Remind and Skyward because they need to be able to go on there and see if you're doing what they think that you're doing or what Mrs. Brown has told you to go do. Remember that for you to log into Imagine Math, it's your 6-digit student ID twice. You're going to work on the pathway that I have assigned for the week. You need to know that it was Mrs. Sanders that went through and she created all of these pathways. None of the pathways are more than 3 lessons, so it should be about 3, 2, or 1. You can test out by making 80% or more on the pre-quiz. Remember that you should have a QR code in the back of your notebook that tells you exactly where you can go. And let me log in really quickly. I went ahead and added myself as a student. So if you get to Imagine Math, this should be your login. Okay. You will log in, and remember I told you that I just signed up as a kiddo just so I could do everything that you guys are doing and look at it so that when you had questions. So I have yet to take a benchmark, so that's where it's going to spit me out first, is doing a benchmark. But remember, when you log in, you will have to select the pathway that we are working on for next week. It's called Distance Learning, Area 7th Grade. That's the pathway that you'll be selecting. I need for you guys to make sure that you're working in the correct pathway. I went in and I cleaned a lot of stuff up. So the only thing that you have left on there is the star review that I assigned before spring break. And if you're curious, you can press pause on that for right now, because I am not taking a grade on anything at this time, because we are doing online schooling and it is not something that we are going to have to be concerned with at this time. But I did leave it on there. And then you have your normal 7th grade pathway. I've cleaned everything else out of Imagine Math. So if you get on there and you're like, oh, I don't have a lot of stuff on here, it's because I went in and cleaned it up, because we're doing a lot of work in Imagine Math. So that's that. I'll go through and I'll take my benchmark later so I can get on and look at the same exact questions that y'all are doing. Remember that Imagine Math does provide a teacher, but you're going to have to go through and put forth some effort and follow the prompts that will lead the Imagine Math teacher to come on. We have been in contact with them. There will be a live teacher option for you, because again, those people that's their job, they work from home anyway, so they will be there to answer and be the live teacher option for you on Imagine Math. As far as next week goes, the activities for next week are going to be what's posted tomorrow at 4 o'clock. But for your expectations, you're going to watch an intro video with Mrs. Brown, not this one. I will do another one where you'll be able to see my face as I walk you through everything for the week. But you will watch a video from me. You'll turn that in. You'll watch a video to review area of composite figures from Mrs. Sanders. You'll watch that. You'll turn that in. There's an Imagine Math pathway that you will be working on. And you guys know that it'll spit you back out and make you review some other stuff again. If you fail a lesson or something like that, you will have to go back and redo them. You will complete an activity that will get you away from the computer screen. So it'll be like, go find a composite figure in your house, and we'll do some things with that. And then I'm going to put some Astros on the Google Classroom, where you can either, if you have a printer option, you can print it and you can work on it. If you don't have that printer option, it is practice, and I want you to get any piece of paper that you have and copy down the problems and try to work them out, okay? And then I will also post where you can go in Go Math if you want some additional things for you to do. But I am not assigning anything from Go Math. It'll just be where I go, like I always do, and show you that this is where you can go to review if your parent would like for you to have additional support. So again, guys, I'm looking forward to seeing y'all. We'll do that video chat tomorrow where y'all can answer I will answer some questions. And then I don't want you to have any stress going into next week. We will figure everything out together. And we'll just go from there. I miss your faces. For those of y'all that can get on tomorrow, I will see you at that time, okay? See y'all soon. Come with questions.